Hello, everyone. This is Eric from Etiquette, and it's so nice to see all of you here. I see Martin is here first. Martin, how are you today? Yeah, I'm really good. I just shaved to make sure that I look good for everyone. So yeah, today is an exciting day. It's the weekend. It's the Sunday right before school starts again. The university classes of mine, they're starting in 2 days. So I've been preparing for that. How about all of you? If you're there, just say hello. What are you doing today? It's a Sunday. It's Sunday night here in Korea. It's 9 p.m. I've started preparing for my classes next week. Next week the semester starts, but we've had some very unfortunate news. We've heard that. So originally our classes would be real classes. We would have gone into university and we would have taught like one normally does. Letty, good to see you. Hi, Martin, Marta. Good to see you guys. Yeah, I just started, so your timing is perfect. And Stefania, how are you today? Yeah, Martin says, I'm not bad, having a relaxing day. Tomorrow is a bank holiday, so a day off. Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, tomorrow was also, so class isn't starting tomorrow. It's starting September 1st, which is Tuesday. So I'm also off tomorrow. I want to get a lot of things done before things start. How about the rest of you? Are you having a relaxing Sunday? I can see that Mahima is just joining us. She's going to be our guest for today. I will introduce her very shortly. I just wanted to say hello first. Yeah, so a very exciting week. I've been preparing for online classes. Alicia, nice to see you. How are you today? Yeah, so I'm preparing for my online classes and it's going well. It's just about getting the students grouped up. I wish I could see them just one or two classes, just to prepare them for online. But because we don't have that luxury, I just need to contact them and then, sort it out from there, which is possible. Stefania, you start on the 14th of September. Okay, so are you having vacation now? Okay. And Elsa, hi Elsa, I'm coming back home. My holidays at the beach has just finished. Yeah, you told us before that you were going to the beach. How was it? Did you have a good time? Hanane, hi Hanane. Where are you from, Hanane? And Tashina, I will start on Tuesday. Us too. Tashina, are you ready? Yeah, it's going to be interesting going back to school. It really feels like summer is finished, but it feels like I haven't gotten enough summer yet. I wish I had more. Mamata, hi, how are you? Okay, and the next day is a local holiday. Okay, and Mariam from Iran, nice to meet you too. Okay, everyone, I'm going to, Vahid also made it. Vahid, we still have to chat. Tashina is Letty. Letty, that is why it sounded familiar. Do you send out any material to the students before the start of class? Actually, so we've got books that we have to do with them. I send them an introduction. I send them some procedures that they have to do. And then after that, it happens like this. But everyone, and from Paris, who's that? Saliha, nice to see you. Okay, everyone, are you ready? Let's introduce our guest for today. Our guest for today is Mahima, and she's a fantastic teacher and student, and so many interesting experiences from India. Let's say hello to her. Mahima, hi.
Hi Eric, how are you?
I'm excellent. So nice to see you. How are you today?
I am good. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, tell us a little. Tell us what did you do this weekend? Anything interesting?
I was supposed to travel this weekend, but because of the coronavirus, I had to stay home. So it's my first cousin's wedding, but I couldn't go there because of the coronavirus. That's why I had to miss it.
Have many of the weddings been cancelled, or are they just smaller? Then I know a lot of people have cancelled their weddings, or they just do private ones. How is it there?
Yeah. Even here also they have cancelled with some of the people who have already planned in advance. So, they're doing a small ceremony, small function, but yeah, they are doing it. Yeah. With less number of people, less food and less gossips. Yeah.
See, that's the best part of the wedding is the food and the gossip, and dancing is also fun. I feel it's so interesting coming to Korea, the way that their weddings are. It's very precise, very beautiful, but it's very precise how it's done. Where I feel like
Yeah.
each culture has a different wedding. But right before we start, please introduce yourself to everyone so that they know who you are.
Okay, perfect. So, hi everybody. My name is Mahima, and I am a YouTuber. I put a lot of content on languages, and I know Mandarin, little bit of Japanese, English, and Hindi. So, I basically speak four languages and continue to learn many more. So, it's really nice to be here with Eric today in his show and talk about languages, about English, and about random other things. And I have a teaching experience of 3 years. I have taught in a university, and now today here I am with you. So very excited about the languages, very excited about the talk show, and yeah, high on life. Yeah,
Well, I think it's interesting because we want to find out about how school is in different countries, and for me,
yeah,
it's kind of fascinating when I meet someone that can speak, that's a polyglot, that can speak many languages. I'm always curious where they started and how they started. So, is it common in India for people to study many languages? First of all.
in schools, yes, it's common, but still in schools mostly people prefer French or German. Like Asian languages they do not prefer. Even now I think people run away from learning Mandarin, Japanese, and Korean. Not many people prefer that,
Well,
honestly speaking.
there's a level to it. So they've got this level system. So if you're a native English speaker, there are certain languages that are more difficult to learn because of the structure or because of the pronunciation. So what I
Yeah.
want to know, so I've heard many people start learning a language because maybe they have a friend or maybe they're interested in BTS. Um, what
Yes.
what got you interested in Mandarin? Is that the first language that you started studying besides
Yeah.
English?
Yes, yes, yes. That's the first language because that is what I studied in college. So yeah, that was the first language that I started. And I wanted to learn something very different. So all of my classmates were standing in the line to buy the forms for French and German, and I was the one alone, a single person standing in the line of Mandarin and planning that finally I'll do this, no matter what, but I'll do this. So that's how the journey started.
Are you usually like someone who's different that likes doing different things or something unique?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Something unique. Yeah. That's my
Have you?
personality since day one. Yeah. I prefer
Yeah.
that way.
What
Yeah.
about what about high school? So you only did this during college, but even during high school, were you interested in languages, or were there certain subjects that you enjoyed more?
So in high school, things were very destined. You know that if you are taking humanities, like in India, the system is like if you are choosing humanities, so you have to study these subjects. If you're going for science, you have to study these subjects. If you're going for commerce, you have to study these subjects. So there was not much, scope of selection or choosing something. So there was no scope. So I had no choice. I chose humanities. I studied psychology. I studied English. I studied economics. So that was fun, but school days were kind of boring for me. I did not enjoy much because of lack of, choice. And when you're not given a choice in life, then obviously you don't enjoy it.
Hmm. Well,
Yeah.
so this brings me to my next question. You just said that you didn't really enjoy. Hi, Saima. I see you're here too. Migam, welcome. Vahid, you said you can understand clearly, and Martin said he already subbed to your channel. So I want to know. So you said you weren't really that interested in these things growing up at during high school, but was there any teachers that stood out that you really liked, or I'm just trying to get to the academic side. What brought out this passion in you in your college years? There must have been something during high school or middle school or elementary school that kind of clicked with you, or teacher style. Who
Yeah.
was your
So,
favorite teacher? Yeah.
yeah. So actually in school I was a very introvert kind of a person, never talked much to people, but I was very fascinated by the script of the language. When I used to see Chinese characters, I was like, wow, how to write them? I want to learn it. But that time I was too young to learn it and I was too young to even decide what I want to do in life. But when I started studying English, I'm an English graduate by the way. Like I have done my major in English from my university. So I thought that I have too much time. Like other than reading novels, I had so much time. So that is why I thought let's do some language. That would be, beneficial. So I started learning language, and Mandarin was the first language that came to my mind, honestly speaking, because of the script, because of the people, and China-India relations back then. Back then, China-India had very good relations. So I thought, yeah, let's give it a try.
Yeah, not that great recently, but Chinese
Yeah.
isn't a very easy language. So how did you start studying it? What studying methods did you have? Is there anything? How did you learn the language?
So when I started during college days, I wasn't very good at it because in college, that they practice a lot of rote learning. You understand? Like they tell, okay, write this character, they write it on the board, the teacher comes, she goes. It was not fun until and unless I started working in a company called Oppo, that's a smartphone mobile company. So therein I started talking to a lot of native Chinese. So then my Chinese language improved. Other than that, when I was in college, I was interested, but yeah, spoken was like on level zero. I had no choice because the teachers never focused on that. So it was bad actually. Mandarin is a very good language. When you start learning, it's very good and beneficial too, actually. But yeah, if it's given the right spot, if it's given the right weightage, that's important. Yeah.
Well, Martin just asked a really interesting question. Well, I've got well, first, Migam said that the quality of the stream is very good. Thank you, Migam. I tried to make it better. Martin asks, he says, what was the biggest challenge in learning Mandarin? What do you think is if I came to you and said I wanted to start Mandarin, what do you think is the most difficult thing?
The most difficult thing is that you feel confident that yes, I know the language, but when somebody, a native Chinese starts speaking to you and you're like, I don't know. So that is the biggest challenge when you are not able to understand the real conversations. And the reason behind it is because of the dialects. A northern Chinese person would speak in a different dialect, a southern Chinese would speak in a different dialect. So when you are learning a new language, you actually don't know which dialect to use. So that's very confusing. That same thing happened with me. Somebody like ni hao, ni hao. So I was like ni hao, but after that somebody says something. What? This is not what I read. So yeah, this is the most difficult part. The dialect problem. There's no
So,
standardization in Mandarin. Yeah.
okay, so if you learn a standard dialect, did you ever travel to China? Did you do most of it from India, and then you worked with the company, or did you actually go to China and study there too?
I didn't go to China for study, but yes, I've traveled to China twice. Yeah. Once I went, just for a short trip. Second time I went for a longer trip. Yes.
Okay, well, that's interesting. And so you started with Chinese, and you're doing really well, and then all of a sudden you picked another language. What
Yeah.
happened there?
It's because Japanese and Chinese are quite similar. Because Japanese script is derived from Chinese. Okay, the Mandarin script. So I thought since I am expert in Chinese, I can speak well Mandarin. Then why not try another language? I do not have to do much effort because one other script. I mean, maximum words are derived from Chinese only. So I just have to learn the sounds. The written part is already the same. So there's not much difference.
Okay. So, Mahima, your channel is called Languaholic, and
Yeah.
what do you do on the channel? Just to let people know.
Okay, so I just started like a year ago this channel, although I started with some new videos which I was teaching Mandarin, but in between I just stopped for a while. Probably I was busy doing something. And then again, I started putting a lot of English videos, because the demand in India is a lot for English. People want to learn about English, want to know what are the common grammatical mistakes that they do, and new words, new vocabulary, many things. So I put a lot of content on English, on languages, how to learn languages in an effective way, and how to quickly learn a language and stuff like that. So, I mean, yeah, that way. So my plan is actually to put more English and language related content, especially the Asian languages, because
Mm.
that are difficult to learn. So I want to make
So,
it easy. Yeah.
okay, so you want to help students to learn that. Well, we've got a great question here by Marta. She says, what vocabulary tips would you give someone who is studying a language that is very different from their mother tongue?
Okay. So I think mother tongue actually plays a very important role when you start learning a language and you get confused when you are speaking a language. Like for example, I'll tell you in Mandarin you say woman. Woman means we all. Okay, woman. But
Woman.
the way you spell it, you'll say woman, woman. Like I had this mistake. It's WOMEN. So that's woman, right? The ladies, the group of ladies is called. I mean, the women. So I always used to say woman because of my mother tongue. I always used to call it that way. But actually, it's woman. So at the time when you're learning a new language, you have to forget your mother tongue. I mean, you have to focus on the new language, forget your mother tongue, only then it can work. And start writing when you're reading. Like I just posted a video lately about languages and some effective ways of learning languages. So I think you should go ahead and watch that video. I have told some ways wherein you can learn a language through mnemonics, through pictures, writing and reading aloud. So yeah, go ahead and do that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I do think, so a lot of people talk about whether young learners should actually start learning a new language from a very young age. I think that's a very interesting question because if some people say that you have to be proficient in your own language first so that you understand the structures before you start with another language.
Yes.
And other people say that you can actually, you get kids that are proficient in both. They've got maybe a dad from India and a mom from China, and they basically learn both languages. That's also
Yeah.
possible. But I still think I think it's possible, but I think it's important for a student to fully grasp a language before they move on to another one. But what do you think? Do you think you can teach a young student from a very early age to be bilingual, or do you think you would rather focus on one and then add another and another? What do you think?
So, it depends. Like, if the person is willing to learn a language, and his mother tongue, because initially when I was learning Mandarin, even I was facing the same issues. I was not able to grasp because in Mandarin, why is it considered the most difficult language? Because what is written is not what you read. I mean, there's a variation. In English, if you write CAT cat, it's CAT cat. BAT bat is just BAT bat. But in Mandarin, if it's written BAT bat, so that is pat. So the pronunciation actually changes. So that was a huge problem for me also. But gradually I realized that yes, the more you practice, I think the better you will become. So there's no concrete answer to this question, Eric, honestly speaking. But yeah, challenges you will be facing. But if you are very sure, like I started Japanese during this lockdown, like 2 months ago, and I
Oh,
can speak some of them. Yeah. So there were challenges, but you have to do your lot of homework, practice yourself, a lot of things. Yes. So for
yeah,
learning languages like this, you have to be very strong. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm very interested because obviously for myself, I've studied Korean, but I haven't
Yeah.
been great at it. So I would study the basics, basic grammar, basic vocabulary, and but I feel like it's important to start using it more. And the more you use it, the better it will become. So, what about your Japanese? You've done it during the lockdown. You've studied on your own. Have you worked with someone else? Do you think it's important to have a mentor or someone to talk to?
See, initially, yes, you require a mentor because if you start doing it yourself, then things would not be right. So, yes, there is one teacher. I just spoke to her, and she is, the highest. I mean, there are exams in Japanese, so she has cleared the highest level exam. So, I trusted her Japanese. So, she has even stayed in Japan for 2, 3 years. So, I approached her and I asked her. So, basically, what we do is language exchange. I teach her Mandarin, she teaches me Japanese, the perfect one. So I teach
Oh,
her 1 hour, she teaches me 1 hour. Every day we are learning languages, learning about culture. So that's the perfect way of doing it. So yes, I'm quite happy.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I see that Migam asks a question. So she says, as a polyglot, do you think your proficiency in each language differs from one another, and do you think the age affects mastering a language? Okay, let's do the first question first. How would you rate your proficiency in the different languages? If you had to give yourself a rating out of 10, how would you rate yourself?
Okay, so for English, maybe 8 on 10. For Hindi, maybe 9 on 10 because I've been speaking like since when I was born because that's my native language. For Mandarin, again, 8 on 10. And for Japanese, as of now, I would say 5 on 10. 4 on 10 or 5 on 10. But I'm still
I
not
like, I
proficient.
like, I like that confidence. It's very important. Yeah. The other thing is, so Saima has a great question here. I was going to start. I'm going to ask you about India in specifically the culture there. But before I go on, Saima says, "Can you tell me the difference between acquiring a language and learning a language?" Saima, why do you give us such difficult questions? So, so I will just give that question to you, Mahima. What do you think is the difference between acquiring and learning?
So acquiring, I feel, is something which is given to you by birth. Maybe you acquire the language that you are born with. So I acquired Hindi. Maybe I was not interested in learning Hindi, but I had no choice because I was born in India, so I was acquired it. But then something which I want to learn is Mandarin and Japanese, so that I'm learning it. So by acquirance, I mean when you are born to it and your circumstances make you, do that language. So that is what I feel is acquired
You're
when you
so
have no
smart.
purpose to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think acquired, it's about the circumstances you're in. So maybe, you are suddenly you move to a new country and
Yeah.
you're surrounded by the language and you kind of acquire it, or you've got a friend who speaks the language, so you learn from them. Whereas with learning, it's like a focused endeavor where you have to do it. That's a great
Yes.
one. So before I move on to some of these other questions, I see we're getting a lot of great questions. But I would like to know, and I guess a lot of the other teachers out here, can you tell us about the Indian education system? How does it work? Can you give us a brief explanation on that? Because I'm not an expert. I have no idea.
Yeah. Sure, sure, sure. So basically, starting from the school, I'll tell you quickly. So we have the same, we start with kindergarten, where the kid is like 4 or 5 year old. After the
Hmm.
kindergarten, you go to first standard, second standard, third standard. So kindergarten, you spend 2 years. Okay. After that, you start with first standard. So there are books and the syllabus which is prescribed, and you follow that. You have no choice to select, what you want to do in life. And no, by the way, there's a new education policy that has just come like a month ago. So they are telling that now you'll have the options of selecting your own, and probably in class 6 you can learn coding. But I'm not sure how effective that is. But that is just a proposal. Implementation, I'm not very sure of. So things like that. Plus, till class 8, things are, you have to study what the school tells you to study. Class 9 and 10, you have an option of, selecting in two languages. One is Hindi, one is Sanskrit. So Sanskrit is again an ancient language of India, and a lot of
Hmm.
words have come from Sanskrit. So you have to select between Hindi and Sanskrit. So mostly students selected Sanskrit because that was very scoring, and Hindi, not many people like it, but yeah, I chose Hindi. And after that, in class 11, again you are given a choice of humanities, commerce, science, medical, non-medical, like different streams, and then you're supposed to study what the school tells you to study. So there's not much choice. If they want you to play games, you have to play games. If they want you to do this, you have to do this. So you do not have choice for internship, for working, for any other thing. Yes.
I'm
And
I'm
after
uh,
that,
I'm quite
yeah.
curious. Why did you choose Hindi?
See, because earlier I had plans of applying in a government job, because Hindi is very necessary. It's mandatory for applying in a government job. Okay, so I had plans when I was in school that I would become some government servant and I would apply for a government job. But gradually, my interests kept changing. So I chose Hindi because I wanted to, apply in a government job. But then gradually, I wanted to become an entrepreneur. So things changed. Yeah.
I like. I think you're trying something different, which is important. Um, uh, I want to go over. Adnabas is here, and he always asks the best questions. Before I get to his question, I just want to ask you. So, you just spoke about the Hindi model, education model. Is there anything that you could change, and what would you change if you could change something in the way that you were brought up, or the next generation? How would you help them?
See, I would want people to focus on skills more than what they focus on education, because there are some people, like in my college, there were so many of my friends who were very good in acting, in drama, in singing, dancing, painting. But When in school and colleges, everybody used to like, you're not getting good marks. Why are you not getting good marks? I think you will not land up a job, this, that. But today, if I see them, they are very happy in what they are doing. So, what I feel is skills are more important than education. I mean, skills should be valued. Every skill is important. Like, for example, I am a language speaker. Somebody would say, you just know language, that's enough. But you have to see the other side of it. Like, if you know a language, you help so many people, tell them about translation, help them translate. There are so many good things about it. So I want people to change their perspective and see that every skill is important. No matter if you are just a singer, just an artist, even those skills are important. No, not everybody can do everything. So
Yeah,
that is what I feel.
I think it's definitely true. You get these what's it, cornerstone habits or cornerstone skills that if you acquire the skill and you can master it, it means
Yeah.
so much. So yeah, you say it's just a language, but it's communicating. It's also a lot of
Yeah.
hard work. You've got so many good questions here. I just quickly want to look at Rian's before I go to Barnabas's. Rian, he says, "What is your opinion on new language learners?" So let's say if you have two language learners or you've got a group that work together, do you think it's
Okay.
good that they practice with each other? Or if they make mistakes, won't they just reinforce each other's mistakes? So let's say you've got a group of students that work together. Do you think it's is it more important that they practice, or do you think they should try different ways of studying? I
See,
think
they
that's what
should
it.
practice together. They should practice together, but only after a certain point when their basics are clear. Like, when there's a doubt class, so I prefer that all the students listen to what others are also asking. Maybe the person has the same doubt. So at least I can clear it like before he or she has the opportunity to ask. So I feel yes, you can do it, but after a certain point, once your foundation is clear, because if you are saying one thing like you are saying I is go, so you will always say I is go. You will not realize that it's not is. Maybe because your friend is saying is, you will also say is. So not that early, but after a stage. Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think there will definitely be mistakes that students make, and I see it in Korea too, where there are some mistakes that they make over and over again, and it's our duty as teachers. As soon as we see these bad habits or these mistakes that they make, that's when you have to give feedback immediately. That it could be as simple as not adding an s when it's singular. He go to school. You're like, wait,
Yeah.
guys, rule. Let's make it S. So yeah, I think there are certain things like that. Now, Barnabas asked a great question. He said, "Are there standardized exams that students have to take?" And so, for you, for example, when you were studying, you're teaching English. Are there some standardized tests for English that students study for in India? For example, a lot of students study for IELTS or
Yeah.
what is yeah. So are there some tests like that in India? What is the most common one?
See, most common one is like mostly people are working in an MNC or something, so they have to call the clients who are located abroad. I mean, they're not Indians, so they have to speak to them. So most of the people that want to learn English are actually those who are working in an MNC and are unable to, attend a call and not able to reply to a mail, maybe not able to talk to their job. So main purpose is for job seeking. Like maximum people who learn English, because still school you're taught English, but again that English is just grammar. So if I ask a school child what is English, they will say grammar. If I ask a college student what is English, they will say Shakespeare. So the notion about English is way too bad. I feel that like it's not exactly what it should be. And people who are really want to learn English like a course, it's because they want to do a job, and so that their English is good, they can impress their clients and stuff like that. So that is the maximum which Indians prefer.
I think it's very interesting. The thing with language is, obviously there are certain things that you want to learn. You want to have the basics. You want to be able to speak well. If you are studying towards a certain topic, if you want to master, let's say, science or technology, you want to focus on that skill. So there are so many things for people to learn. I'm talking a lot with Vahid, and he is also a type of scientist where he focuses on a lot of geography and he has to focus on that. I think what's difficult, though, that most people dislike is if students have to study for example, in Korea, they study for tests. So they study grammar very hard, but speaking might be bad. So I was wondering, so if if you at a university you studied Chinese, um,
Yeah,
are there some students that just focused on studying for tests, but for you it's more about the experience, or about being able to communicate with other Chinese speakers? So
yeah.
at university, did you have a test that you had to study for? I'm just trying to figure out what your type of study methods were to learn a new language.
Okay, yes, there was a test, and so that is what I'm saying. No, so when you are learning a language, what is most important? That you should be able to communicate with a person, right? When you're writing a language, that's not that important. The most important part is that you're able to communicate. So if you're able to communicate, you have to, talk to a native first, or maybe travel to that country first. So yes,
Hmm.
in our college days we had exams, but that was just a formality. So just have to study properly, give the exam, score marks. Still, you know nothing about Chinese. Somebody says ni hao, and you are like, what? So not even the basic ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Were you always open? Were you at all shy? Because a lot of students struggle with confidence, right? So when you first started, were you just, I can make mistakes and talk anyway? How did you build up confidence, or did you just always have it?
So no, I did not always have it. Like I was a topper in school. No, no, I mean, no doubt in that. But I was always an introvert. I had personality problems. Not many people used to talk to me in school, and yeah, stuff like that. But when I was in college, then I decided to go further and build up my personality in that way, so that people should feel that yes, I am something. So it took a lot of confidence, a lot of efforts to build that personality. Yes, in school I was not the same. So there was a big difference, yes. And gradually in college, I realized that it's a place wherein you can, overcome your fears. You should be what you are, no matter what people are saying. So only then I realized, otherwise, I was a shy girl. I never used to ask doubts in the class. I had tens and hundreds of doubts, and I was like, quiet. I could not even raise my hand and say, ma'am, I have a doubt. Like we say ma'am and sir in India. So I never could even say that, ma'am, I have a doubt or I have a question. No, I did not do that even. But in college, yeah, I gradually opened my wings. I gradually became more confident. So yes, now I can
Hmm.
say I do not fear about, telling people about what I can do. Yeah.
Well, I'm very so. I think one of the things is, that we should we should constantly be trying to improve ourselves and change who we are. I think one of the biggest mistakes, one of the things I thought of um, growing up, and this was the biggest mistake. It was, I thought, um, I just always want to be me. I just always want to be the same person. If someone, this was when I was younger. They said, so if when I was, let's say I was 16, and I said, if somebody saw me after 10 years, and when I'm 26, they should say, oh, it's Eric. He's still the same guy I knew. And only when I got older, I kind of told myself, what a waste would that be? What a waste of 10 years if I still
Yeah.
had the same mindset and I had still had the same thing we saw. So, Mahima, can you speak a little bit slower? I want you to relax and speak a little bit slower because you're getting so excited and it's going well, but I want you to slow down a little bit. And then we've
Okay.
got a question here. Um, what did you find most helpful in learning English? Was it grammatical instruction, studying literature, or socializing? This is Barnabas again, and Barnabas always asks fantastic questions. So I really like that. What do you think?
For me, I think, yeah, socializing helped me the maximum, because the peer pressure when you have, and when you have, that you have to be the best, you have to stand out in the crowd, and there's a competition, a healthy competition. So yes, that is one of the important factors that, push you towards learning a language. That's the most important. Yes, I feel that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it says here, Elsa says here, it sounds almost cliche, but confidence is the basis of evolution and improvement indeed. So if you, I think that thing about confidence is a lot of people are afraid of making mistakes. A lot of people are afraid of trying new things, and I've
True.
had that same thing too, where I was afraid of trying new things. But I also think that you should kind of allow yourself to make mistakes. So it's not just, oh, I'm confident, I'm going to be great, but it's like, in the future, if I make mistakes, it's okay, but I will improve. And that's what I've been telling myself with with making YouTube videos. I told myself, okay, Eric, you're going to be horrible, but as long as you continue, you will improve. And so even through these mistakes, we improve. And I want to ask you, so tell us a little bit about your channel. You know, what kind of videos are you making now? And kind of in the future, what kind of videos would you like to make in the future? What would you like to help people with?
So basically, the interest and the forte that I have is speaking and teaching languages. Okay, so that is what I do, and I want the world to connect with, I mean, the world to connect as well. So I have plans of making videos in English, Chinese, I mean, English, Mandarin, Japanese, and Korean, these three languages. Maybe talk to some natives, maybe, make in language so that it's easy to understand. Like these days, I feel a lot of students ask me, we do not have good content to study. I mean, it's very difficult to manage. So I want to focus more on the spoken part and, figure out that way so that I can make it like that. So I would be making videos on languages and English. Yeah.
Okay, well, I've got an idea. Everybody out there, what video do you think she can make? I want you to give us some topics. So
Yeah.
she can speak Chinese. She's studying Japanese. She can speak English and Hindi. What videos would you like to see? And I want you guys to put it in there. Yeah, I think there's so many great things about languages, especially that you can teach so many people and help them. What was your favorite video that you made on your channel? While we wait for everyone to put it in there.
Okay, so there's not a single favorite video that I would say, but yes, many, all of them are very close to my heart because I did a lot of research before putting it, and because obviously every video puts in a lot of efforts. So yes, all the videos are good, like, but yeah, maximum which I like was when I'm trying to introduce some new characters in the video and trying to reach out to people, telling them that okay, I am the teacher or you are the student, or role playing type videos. I think that is more effective. So people love to watch them. If it's a boring video, I'm just speaking and people are listening. So I think the retention rate is very slow. I mean, it's very low. So I want to make videos which are interesting, maybe animated, maybe a little bit of music or something like that, and teach language side by side. So something, a coordination of all these things. Yeah.
I like the idea of like role playing. I think I did a video on role playing before, and Vahid just asked. He said, "Are there any communication skills and tips?" And I think one of the things that I try. So if you teach a language, a lot of teachers want give the students English names. So in Korea, a lot of teachers would give students English names because they believe that the student will take on it's almost like they take on a character and they start learning a language so that it's not Eric right now, it's this other person that's studying it, and that gives them a little bit more. So I would say um, if if I had to quickly teach someone, especially someone that might not be very confident, I would encourage them to think of themselves as another character and then doing that. I think you just said something where you like to make characters to make
Yeah.
people enjoy it. I like that.
Yeah.
So Akaba says, my students struggle with English idioms. A video teaching idioms would be very great. Yeah. So, do you have any? Are there any good Indian or Hindi idioms that you can teach us? Can you think of any from the top of your head?
Uh, I know a lot of idioms, but I think just now I think it will be difficult to remember because they're a little funny and things like that. But I think I remember English more honestly because Hindi idioms I've not paid much attention to, but I don't know, I can't recollect them. Yeah.
See, I love asking the questions because I was like, okay, can I think of some really good idioms in Africa? And I was like, no, I'm glad I just give the question to you. Elsa also says maybe something about writing or phrasal verbs. I think phrasal verbs are very useful. For me, I believe when I teach a language, I like to focus on the most important parts, to give them a solid base. And although idioms are interesting and funny, I would see idioms as just something that's interesting and funny. But if it's not used that much, I kind of avoid idioms and that. So let me ask you. So if you had to teach someone, let's say you started teaching me, I came to you and I said, okay, please teach me Chinese. I've got many teachers out there that I want to reach. How would you take me from a total beginner until intermediate? Or let's say, what is it? Maybe B1 or B2. So on the scale, so lower intermediate. How would you teach me to get there?
Okay, great question. So basically, a lot of students ask me this question, like, if I join the course, how much time will it take to, do this? How many days will it take, and all that stuff? So I always tell them, firstly, it depends on your capability to grasp, like how speedily you grasp. But again, uh, so I usually start teaching when I tell the students, like, how did Mandarin characters came into being. I mean, you know the characters. When you're learning English, you learn with aber, kurder, abc, stuff like that. So even in Mandarin, when you start learning, you should know why do we write characters, why do we not use any other form of writing. So how did they come to life, why are characters used, how we can use it. So one or two classes on that. Second and third class maybe on sounds, on phonetics, on writing, because there is again a particular way of writing in Mandarin. You just can't write left to right or top to bottom. So there is a particular way of writing. So many,
Mm.
many things. So I divide class on the basis of how students can grasp, starting from phonetics, then going back to, writing, and then words, prepositions, like day by day. One day we
In
do
the
pronouns,
structure.
next day. Yeah, that way. So I think that is interesting, and students learn very quickly.
Mm. Wow. Yeah. No, I think it's always, if you have a brand new student and you have to take them up to a certain level, it can be difficult, but it should always come from a place of where you focus on the student. If you
Yeah.
can if you can connect to their own lives, that helps a lot. So first, you need to teach them the basics, the writing, building sentences, vocabulary, and then you need to start structuring it and connecting it to their lives. To connect it quickly. Um, I was talking to a friend earlier, and he started talking about using um, using more technology and AR and for teaching. Uh, do you feel like in India, do you think that it's improving technology and learning? Because a lot of Chinese students and maybe yourself too, you study online or you use online books or material. Do you think technology is improving enough in India for that?
If you honestly ask me, I will say no. Because Indian students do not prefer to study online. Like, if still students want to study Mandarin or Japanese or English, they will call me and say, we want to come to the institute or we want to come to the classroom to study. Online is not our thing. So because maximum people, they are not comfortable studying, maybe because of the Wi-Fi connection, maybe because noisy surroundings. I don't know whatever the reason is, but in India, I mean, whatever technology comes, it's very slow. Yes, I would not say Indians want to. Indians still want to study, the classroom, blackboard and whiteboard type of a system. So, which I want to change, but I think it will take time. I mean, it's very difficult to change, but yeah,
No,
somehow.
I think it will definitely take time. It's just a shame, that I think there is a big gap in South Africa too. I was talking to some friends, and they have to teach online, but many of the students don't have computers or They don't have the right internet connection. And I feel like, perhaps in Asian countries where there's enough technology, or in some of the Western countries, it just feels like there's a big gap between the countries. And actually, the reason that the internet exists is to make things easier. So I hope that it improves in the future. So we've got something here. Saima says, if I were there, I would suggest you listen a lot. The more you listen, the better you are at speaking. What do you think about that?
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, that is agreed. Totally agree. Yeah.
I feel like in Korea, my listening has gotten very good, but then my speaking is horrible. I think the thing is, listening is very passive. You can sit and you can listen to something. Um, if you listen to someone that's really good and then you repeat it and then you practice your speaking based on it, you should use more. That's why when I do listening practice with my students, I like to connect it to writing, or also to repeating or speaking or grammar. So if you do something like listening, you should always have another activity connected with it. I think that's important. How do you feel about English immersion? Only speaking English in the classroom. Do you find this works? Does it work with more advanced students? Barnabas, such amazing questions. So, what do you think about immersion if you are inside a language? You immerse yourself. Do you think that's a good method?
Yes, I think that is, but that's not the only method that you follow. So you have to, do two, three other things to, get back to the language and do something like that. And even I see so many videos on YouTube talking about language immersion, talking about how I spent my day as a language speaker and stuff like that. So I keep watching a lot of videos to see how other people are studying actually. So the best tip that I think is, like, if you want to practice written, so yes, you have to write and speak a lot. And mnemonics, I think, is the best trick to learn a language. That is what I feel. When you try to associate something, with a picture, maybe some incident, some situation, I think that's easy. That's the easiest part. That's what I feel. Yeah.
Excellent, very nice. Yeah, I think if you immerse yourself in a language and you actually take part, like you went to China twice. How was your experience when you went to China? How was that like?
Amazing. I mean, it was very different from what India was. Like, so many things were so new to me. The technology, the way they use metros, the way they communicate, the way taxi system. I mean, so many new things. I mean, I was amazed to see the technology that they use. I mean, I was amazed because in India, if you're not carrying money, if you're not carrying your wallet, I mean, there's no point. But in China, you just need a QR code, scan it, it's done. Scan it, it's done. I was amazed, like, even a small street vendor was using the QR codes. In India, like, we have Paytm. So Paytm is one of the apps, but not many people use it. We still have to have the hard cash. There, you just need a mobile phone and travel any part of the world. So that was very interesting part which I liked about China. Plus, it's a safe city. It's very safe. It's very nice. Technology wise, it's good. So yeah, other than the food, honestly, I did not quite like the food there because that was difficult to eat. So
Why?
I just
I heard such good things about the food. What was different from your? Why didn't you like it?
say because I eat non-veg. I'll not deny it. I eat non-veg sometimes, but again, the definition of non-veg to me, I mean, being an Indian is like eating just chicken, mutton. Sometimes that's okay, but when I went to China, so everything they eat, like be it beef, be it pork, be it you know, so many duck and stuff like that. So I was just surviving on McDonald's and on pizzas, and that's it. So for me, it was difficult. Honestly,
Uh,
it was difficult.
yeah, I think I was when okay. The first time I came to Korea, I felt exactly the same way. When you suddenly go into another culture, and I think it's one thing just learning the language, but then also learning about the lifestyle and the food and adapting to that. That was so difficult. And as soon as you see a McDonald's, it's like, oh, this is going to taste the same at least, and you kind of hold on to that. How long did you stay there? For a couple of months, couple of weeks?
No, I stayed there for 18 days. So I went for a specific purpose, but yeah, I came back in 18 days. So I traveled to three cities, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and Zhuhai. So these are the name of the cities. I traveled there and then I came back. So it was 18 days, I guess, somewhere around
Did you?
that.
So the reason I bring this up is because of Barnabas's question. So when you were there, did you only speak Chinese?
Yeah, only speak Chinese. Plus, being a foreigner there, so they would like look at me and you know Chinese, so like that. So they'll always like 你会说中文吗?你会说中文吗? That means do you speak Chinese? So they were very happy to see me speak Chinese. Yeah.
I should introduce you. One of my other friends lives close here. She's Chinese and she makes Chinese food and she's also a YouTuber. And
Wow.
I went to eat with her once, and it's just this big meal, lots of food. I really enjoyed it. Let's see. Tisha says, it's Letty. Letty says, yes, I only speak English to my students from 6 years to older ones. It works. Yeah, I think in most classrooms we say only English, to do that. Sometimes if you have to quickly explain something, it can help to use the language, but otherwise you want to surround them with that.
Yeah.
Migam said, I think she says, Saima, I agree with you, Saima. I think that listening English, when she listened to English songs when she was 4 years old, it helped her pick up the pronunciation. So did you use music at all to study, to pick up the pronunciation of words? Did you watch movies, multimedia when you studied?
Yes, I think that's interesting. Plus, yeah, it's always good to listen to music. So I listen to a lot of English music, like many favorite stars which I like, and many
Who's your
singers.
favorite?
Taylor Swift.
Uh,
So actually, it's not a particular favorite, but yeah, Taylor Swift, Maroon 5, I listen to, and I used to like, which one was that? He used to make, this Westlife. Westlife was another band. So
Oh
I
yeah,
used to like,
Ronan Keating and Westlife.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Well,
So
it's actually interesting. I think when you say Taylor Swift, I remember that Romeo song. She said, "You were Romeo." Da, 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 da. You know what I'm
yes.
talking about? Actually,
Love story, yeah.
love story. There we go. I remember that song. But can I tell you something interesting? Um, it's not interesting. It's very boring. But I like talking about this. The other day, I went onto this website for some reason, and it said basically who your celebrity is that has a similar birthday as you, and there are there are no cool celebrities with my birthday, which is March 18th, except one. It is the lead singer of Maroon 5, Adam Levine.
Okay, okay.
So
Wow.
we're basically the same person. We're just as cool as each other. Um, do you have any celebrities? Do you know which celebrity has your birthday?
No, I don't really know that.
I
No.
thought it would be interesting to many other people, but every time I ask someone, it's like, "Who's your celebrity birthday buddy?" And everybody says the same as yours. Like, Eric, we really don't care about that. I'm like, oh, damn it, I'm the only one. Okay, when is your birthday, by the way?
My birthday is on 9th of January. I am
9th
a
of January.
Capricorn. Yeah.
I'll look it up and I'll send you a message of which one it is. Listening to songs. Um, you were saying, what about movies? Did you watch a lot of movies to learn a language?
Not movies much, honestly, but yeah, sometimes like only on weekends, probably when I get time, like Saturday, Sunday. But otherwise, I like reading more as compared to watching movies. Like I love to read books, I love to read articles, I love to write articles, like
Yeah.
so these are my things like which I like doing it. I have an account on Medium. I keep writing articles on LinkedIn. So yeah, more than watching movies. I listen to songs, but watching movies not much. Yeah.
Excellent. Actually, I think that's fantastic. Studying through writing and reading.
Yeah.
What kind of books do you enjoy? Any authors or any style of books?
So it's fiction, non-fiction, both alike. So it depends. Like sometimes I read a lot of motivational books because I have to keep myself on toes all the time, get out of my comfort zone, and keep pushing myself. Okay, I like Elon Musk a lot. Honestly, I
Yeah.
look up to him as a person because he has struggled a lot in his life, and I really like his what he
Yeah.
has achieved till now. So he's one of the examples. Jack Ma is
Mm.
another example because being a Chinese, he can speak so good English. He has started Alibaba. So yeah, some people are really good. So motivational is one. Otherwise, sometimes I read fiction, sometimes non-fiction. So yes, I can't recollect a particular book, but a lot of authors.
I think it's a couple of months ago we actually did a book reading club on here. Someone suggested a book and everybody tried to read the book in a week or two, and then we came back and we talked about it, and it was so good. And I want to share something about that. Actually, I never thought of myself as an English teacher. I was okay at English growing up, and that all changed. I think I was 11 years old and 11 or
Okay.
12. And I thought, man, I need to read a book. If I read a book, a really difficult book, maybe I can improve. So I looked into my dad's bookcase and I found an old book called Great Expectations by Charles Dickens.
Champions. Yeah. I know.
So I took that book as an 11-year-old, and you open it up, and it's super difficult. It's so difficult. I had to stop every sentence, and then I had to take out a dictionary, look up a word, and to continue reading. And if I didn't know a word, I would write it down, or if it's a cool sounding word, I would write it down with the definition. And as a 11-year-old, I worked through the whole book, and I think after that, I just took an appreciation, and I really felt like after starting to read like that, I really improved. So it's definitely something that I would suggest to anyone is reading and writing.
Yeah.
We should do another book. What book would you suggest we read next?
So I think for improving English, I think you should go for English classics like Pride and Prejudice, maybe Shakespeare, Hamlet, and stuff like that. Because when I was in English honors, like I was specializing in English, so I think those were the books that helped me increase my vocabulary and sentence formation. So those books are really good. Like even today, I like Pride and Prejudice a lot. I like
Hmm.
Hamlet a lot. I like As You Like It a lot, like Shakespeare and. So yes, I still prefer the classics over
I
like
love I
yeah.
love, well, actually, Celestial says it here. She says, I agree, listening and reading with pleasure in your favorite fields. It helps much better with the learning process. The books you read in a new language with pleasure will give you pleasure that you can never forget. Teacher Nino, good evening here in Philippines. And that gorgeous woman on your right, good evening to you too, Mahima. So I think when you said Pride and Prejudice, that's also one of the ones that I read and I just absolutely loved. Have you watched the not the movie but the series? What is it? The one with who's that English actor? Who's that English actor? Pride and Prejudice, but not the movie, the series. Have you watched that? The BBC one.
I think yes. I have watched it. Yes, because I
What?
really love that the character of Elizabeth, so I can relate to the character more as compared to the main
Oh,
female lead in the story. Yeah, so I am also a
yes,
little
Mr.
feminist.
Darcy and but who played Mr. Darcy? What's his name? Colin Firth. He played
Okay.
Mr. Darcy. Did you watch that series? It's amazing.
Yeah.
It was my aunt's birthday. I remember I was it was the first year I was teaching, and my aunt, it was her birthday. She loves it, loves the show, the book. So I bought her this. I think it's 6 series, and I took it to her on her birthday. And instead of going out, we watched the entire series in one sitting. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael, I think we're almost finished. What is the final topic that you would like to talk about, or some projects? Or what is a final topic you want to talk about? Also, everybody out there, if you have a final question, put it in the comments. Barnabas says, I was told by my vocal instructor that I should choose Adam Levine songs. Barnabas, my vocal instructor said, Eric, never sing again. The dogs start barking and people cry. So you're so lucky, Barnabas. Okay, Mahima, what is the last topic you would like to talk about?
I think more or less, Eric, we have covered everything. Although there is so much to talk about because the world is your oyster and you go ahead and talk so many things. But I think, yeah, I would tell the people that whatever you want to do in life, you should go ahead and do it. Life is too short, and don't wait for other people to tell you this or that. Whatever you feel like doing, everything has a career, everything has weightage. So go ahead and enjoy what you really like doing. Otherwise, you'll have a lot of regrets with life. So never have any regrets, but do whatever you like. So that is what I would like to tell everybody.
That's a fantastic. I hope you wrote that down. That's a quote right there. That's beautiful advice. Thank you so much. Yeah. How I always feel with these conversations is it feels like the first 50 minutes is just warming up. And then just
Yeah,
as we start going and we feel comfortable talking, it's like,
true.
oh, now we have to say goodbye. So, yeah, no, I think it was great having you on. In the perfect world, how do you see the next year going? How do you see the next year going in the perfect world? Or yourself? Not the world in general, but your life the next year. Perfect.
Okay, like honestly, even this year, I'm quite optimistic. Although I know there's a lot of negativity around and people are talking about, a lot of things happening. But again, I'm very optimistic. But next year, I plan to, start the year with a, again, taking care of my health again, having a boost in my career, trying to learn as many things as possible, trying not to get angry on petty things. So there are a lot of things that I need to change in my personality. So probably I'll be doing that or working more on that. These days emotional quotient is very important. You have to have a emotional stability, a good IQ level. So there are many many things. So these things are not these things do not come when you start studying something, but actually this is practical. The more you talk to people, the more you see the world, then you realize many things. So these things are not taught in school or colleges, or you'll not find it in books. But the more you try to spend time with yourself, the more you introspect. Basically, I think I would like to introspect a lot, because I feel that I'm not doing 100% of what I should be doing. So maybe, yeah, I have to push myself much more. you know
Think just watch out for pushing yourself too much because I see you, you're doing so much. I feel the same way. I always think, what can I do to do more? Uh, yeah, don't push yourself too hard. And I like what you said about taking time for introspection and taking time for introspection and also focusing on the emotional side of your life, to feel better too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think. Well, you said that you have problems with anger. I don't see you having. Did you say you had problems with anger or being impatient?
See, not anger. Basically, I'm not an angry sort of a person, but yeah, I'm little impatient with things. Like, I want everything to go like fast forward. If I'm doing something, I want, instant things to be done my way, so that I'm not that practical enough in that sense. I try my level best to control that, but yeah, something is missing, which I have to, patience is missing actually. Sometimes I feel I'm not patient enough, but good
Yeah, I
things
think
always take time. Yeah.
here's a quote. I think this is actually by Elon Musk, where he says that I think we what is it? Something like we sometimes think that in a year we overestimate what we can do in a day and we underestimate what we can do in a year. So, or something like that. Basically, what it comes down to is that short term, if you push yourself too hard, you might burn out. But long term, if you don't push yourself enough, you might feel like you're wasting a lot of time. It's something like that. I'll look it up and put it in as a quote. Okay. Yeah. It was such a pleasure having you here, and I would really like to talk to you in the future. Everyone, yeah, I hope you check out Mahima channel. Makes a lot of interesting videos to help people with English and other languages too. Alsa says, "Nice to meet you, Mahima," and then Leti
Nice to
says,
meet you, everybody.
"Thank you both. We need to go with the flow. Sometimes it's difficult. We need to relax more." Do you do any exercises to let go of stress, by the way?
Okay, for bursting my stress, so I prefer, dancing and working out. So that is what I feel like. Rigorous workout and jogging, dancing, yeah, that is a very good way of busting your stress. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to meditate more, and I think I need to get back to it because sometimes I talk too much. But I also go to the gym a lot. I've spoken
That's good.
about it before, but I think I should take. I think everybody should try and take 5 or 10 minutes a day to relax. And I tell everyone this, but I don't do it myself, so that's a bit unfair. Celestial, thank you so much for your comments too. She says it's a pleasure to know you, Mahima. Thank you for the tips. And then Vahid, one of my favorite people that I'm talking to, I added him on Instagram recently. He said, a very productive conversation. Yeah, I think, Mahima, thank you so much for joining me. Everybody else, I hope you have a beautiful week and have a fantastic day. And I'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for being patient listeners. It was really nice being on the show. Thank you. Thank you so much, Eric, for inviting me
Okay,
here.
it's a pleasure. Everyone, have a good night or a good day, and I'll see you next week.